and welcome to News Now on TV360. I'm Thelma Okoro. Today makes it 1,037 days since over 200 schoolgirls were abducted from Chibok community in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. The Bring Back Our Girls group has again called for the release of the schoolgirls. Since the abduction by Boko Haram in April 2014, 195 of the girls are still yet to be found by the Nigerian government. In October 2016, the sect released 21 of the schoolgirls after talks with the Nigerian government. It's believed that the girls are being kept in Sambisa Forest, a major hideout of the Boko Haram sect, before the Nigerian army dislodged them from that area. Now, the internally displaced people's camp in Bama, Borno State has recorded 358 new arrivals. The IDPs were collected by the Nigerian army during operations from remote villages around Bama. The group consists of 21 men, a young boy, while the others are women and children. Officials of the UNICEF controlling the healthcare center at the Bama camp say so far 2 leprosy cases and measles among children have been diagnosed among the new arrivals. Also, 20 children are suffering from malnutrition at the yellow level, while 10 others are at the critical stage. A federal high court has ordered former group managing director of NNPC to forfeit the $9.8 million and £74,000 recovered from his house to the Nigerian government. EFCC last week recovered the money, which is about 3 billion naira in total, in a hidden fireproof safe from his home in Kaduna State. EFCC spokesperson Wilson Uwujorin says that the former NNPC boss admitted owning the money and is helping with investigations. The Nigerian government has again commended the appointment of Amina Mohammed as Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. The outgoing Minister of Environment was hosted to a send-off event by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Abuja. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, at the event described her appointment as a great achievement for Nigeria. The event was also attended by Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai and several ministers of the Federation.
She's, of course, our outgoing Honorable Minister of Environment, and she's going to leave a very big void, a very big gap in the government, in the Federal Executive Council. It'll be another win, a big win also for Africa, because we have developmental challenges, and the person who is going to be charged with a global architecture and implementation of development is our very own Honorable Minister Amina Mohammed.
This is very, very important for many of us that are governors and public leaders in northern Nigeria, where girl-child education and the prospects of our female children have been less bright, less encouraged, and much diminished by reason of the agenda. I think many of our little girls, particularly, and boys in Kaduna State and other 18 northern states will look at Amina as an inspiration and will grow up to know that the agenda is no limits to how far they can go.
We all know what she's capable of. The Federal Executive Council will surely miss her quality contributions in the council. But we are happy that she's going to represent us at a higher level outside the council and outside the country. Nigerian women are very happy and very, very proud of you.
Let me just say that I want to thank President Muhammad Buhari for giving me the opportunity to serve in a place that I believe, together with my colleague, we are going to make the impact in many, many Nigerian lives. But all in all, I think that what has happened to me in Nigeria, and His Excellency the Governor of Kaduna State, Nasru, has said it, made in Nigeria, bred in Nigeria, panel beaten in Nigeria, has prepared me for the United Nations. When I asked Antonio Guterres, what is the reason you took the job? He said to me, it was the moral imperative. And I think the best answer that one could ever have to encourage us to cross back to New York in very difficult and complex times, in a world where we are questioning what leadership is about, where we're questioning democracy, we're questioning everything, our values, our core values, and what holds us together.
Nigeria's acting president Yemi Osinbajo says the government is committed to rebuilding the Niger Delta region. Speaking during his one-day working visit to Imo State, Osinbajo promised to also ensure that there is lasting peace and stability in the region through active development initiatives. He also admitted that Nigeria needs to offer work to people who make a living from refining oil illegally in the Niger Delta region to achieve peace in that area. According to Oil Minister Ibe Kachiko, the government has been holding talks with militants to end attacks on oil pipelines, which cost the country up to $100 billion in 2016 alone. Nigeria has declared an air pollution emergency in Port Harcourt following days of black soot clouding the city. Authorities also closed an asphalt plant there after residents complained about the fumes from its furnace. The announcement comes after residents staged a protest in Port Harcourt, waving their hands in the air to show the soot stains clouding the city. 161 Nigerians stranded in Libya have voluntarily returned to the country. They arrived aboard an Airbus 329 with majority of them females and about 18 infants and children. The journey was facilitated by the International Organization for Migration. The National Emergency Management Agency NEMA says that the returnees would be resettled with the help of various state governments. Nigeria's biggest airline, Arik Air, has suspended its international flight operations to London and Johannesburg. Spokesperson of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, Jude Nwozo, made the announcement in a statement issued in Lagos. Nwozo says that the suspension would enable Arik Air to find permanent solutions to problems facing the airline. AMCON had on February 9th taken over the airline following its huge indebtedness to the company and other creditors, both local and foreign. Last month in Washington, Zuria Oduwole became the youngest person in the history of the United States Department to meet formally with a U.S. Secretary of State. She was being honored by Secretary of State John Kerry for her works on girl education across Africa. And now, in continuing with her regular consultations with global leaders across Africa, Europe and the Americas, she has now met with the President of Croatia, Her Excellency Kolinda Grabar-Kitarovic. She is building a strong coalition with female presidents to tackle some global issues, having now met with the leaders of Liberia, Malta and now Croatia, who are all women. The 14-year-old has now met with more than 23 world leaders to talk on education, gender issues and development issues.
Now, you are not just a pretty face as Croatia's president, but you're also a very smart lady.
Thank you.
Do you earn the same respect from other male world leaders, or do you have to fight for it?
From other male world leaders, I have to say no problem whatsoever. They treat me, of course, they cannot get away from the fact that I'm a woman. So there's always a little bit of that in their demeanor. But they take me just equally as seriously as any other male politician. And that is, of course, because through years and years, I worked very hard to prove that there is a lot more to women than just the form. There is the substance that we need to focus on. Although things are changing, we are getting more female world leaders. We now don't have to look like men to be taken seriously. We can express our femininity, which I think is important because a feminine perspective can sometimes break the impasse. And it's actually been proven when you include women in peace processes that they're more likely to succeed, that women are more inclusive and more tolerant and more understanding of other people's problems. And of course, when you include women in businesses and in work, then the GDP of the whole country grows.
What do you want your legacy to be after you leave office as the president of Croatia?
I have several goals. First is on the national level. I want the unity of all people in Croatia with respect to our strategic development goals. I want people to stop fighting over history, over ideological issues, and I want for all of us to concentrate on the strategic development goals of Croatia, such as demographic trends, creating new jobs, better education for all Croatian children, hearing their voice heard, etc. And then when it comes to women, of course, breaking the barriers and the stereotypes. With respect to legislation, we have achieved a lot. We have top-notch legislation in the world that protects the rights of women. However, when it comes to practice and implementation, it doesn't really work always. Right. And there's always still a lot of stereotyping, especially in the media. And one has to raise awareness that hate speech is not just speaking against anybody's or anyone's national or ethnic background. If you offend someone because she's a woman, that's also hate speech.
The Accountant General of the Federation says 5.24 trillion naira had been mopped up into the Treasury single account of the country. Ali Ahmed Idris also disclosed that over 20,000 accounts with deposit money banks belonging to ministries, departments and agencies have been closed down since the inception of the TSA. The government began the implementation of the TSA in September 2015 to unify all its accounts. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Babachi David Lal, says fervency in prayers for the Nigerian is a veritable tool for good governance. The SGF was speaking at a pro-Buhari rally in Abuja, the nation's capital. The protesting group flooded the streets of Abuja in solidarity with the President Buhari administration. They eventually converged at the entrance leading to the presidential villa to present a solidarity package to the Nigerian presidency.
The essence of having a little delay in some areas of development is because of some of these persons who have become enemies within. Some APC caucus members, some even serving ministers, even some state governors under the APC are still fighting President Buhari because the system is no longer as usual, where they steal money on daily basis. And we want to sound a warning to governors who have been embezzling public funds under this administration. Thank God for Mr. President. The EFCC is already investigating the spend of the refund of Paris Club loan. Now today, so many governors are already panicking. We want to tell such governors that are willing and still ready to sabotage the effort of the federal government to immediately desist from that. What also advise them to concentrate and ensure a better life for the citizens.
I'm praying for the country, praying for peace, praying for unity, and praying for good health for the president and the vice president and indeed members of the executive branch of government, the legislature. They are now going through the budget, and we hope that God willing, the budget will soon be passed and the executive branch of government will start working to implement it. So on this note, I'd like to put all of us in our prayers. Amen. While we also pray for you, that as our children and the youth of this country are able to lay a foundation that will be prosperous for you. Amen.
Mr. Job! Mr. Job! What is it now?
What is it now?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. What's wrong with you? Is there another person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just respecting you, sir. You remember I paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption
not in my country.
You know, go to your bank.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. It's now time for business stories. Fidelia is standing by with the latest.
Thanks, Thelma. Annual inflation in Nigeria has risen to 18.72%. This is according to the National Bureau of Statistics. The rise from 18.55% in December, its highest in more than 11 years, was driven by surge in food, transportation, and electricity. A separate food index also rose to 17.82% from 17.39% in December, the Statistics Office said. The soaring cost of living in Nigeria, where the United Nations estimated that 70% of the population live on $1 a day, has prompted widespread anger at Buhari's handling of the economy. In December, President Muhammad Buhari presented a record 7.298 trillion naira budget for 2017 aimed at stimulating growth and pulling the economy out of recession. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says the amount of counterfeit notes in Nigeria from January to December 2016 was less than 1% of the total. The CBN made this known in reaction to claims by a former deputy governor of the Apex Bank, Obadia Mailafia, that 20% of the currency circulating nationwide is fake. In a statement, the Apex Bank refuted claims, noting that less than 1% rate represents 0.014% or 14% counterfeit pieces of 1 million bank notes. Oil slipped further below $56 a barrel on Wednesday, even as OPEC achieves record compliance with its supply cut accord. Brent crude was down 13 cents, trading at $55.84 a barrel, while U.S. crude fell by 23 cents to trade at $52.97 a barrel. To support prices, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and other producers, including Russia, are cutting output by almost 1.8 million barrels a day in the first half of 2017. Although OPEC has made a strong start in complying with the cuts, rising U.S. stocks and revival of U.S. oil output have limited the price rise. Well, that's all on business. Thelma will be back with more stories. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country.
How work?
Oh, correct, Oga.
What is it that you are doing?
Oga, they command the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this o. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They will command the original parts, sell them, make plenty kuza.
No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff.
Now because they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no they give them electricity.
Before I open my eye, Makachuku look at my talk in the heaven. Replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before una do am, frog jump. One, frog jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is the corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
G20 foreign ministers have gathered to discuss ways to fight poverty in Africa. German ministry officials say the ministers will also talk about strengthening governmental institutions to utilize the potential of many African countries. Germany has also made cooperation with Africa a centerpiece of its presidency of the group of 20 largest industrialized countries. The European Union is also taking steps to stem immigration from Africa, which is set to rise after 181,000 people arriving last year and an estimated 4,500 believed to have died while crossing the Mediterranean Sea. The Gambia is set to rejoin the Commonwealth 4 years after it left the group. This is according to British Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson after he met with the country's new president, Adama Barrow. The Gambian president withdrew from the Commonwealth in 2013 under its then leader, Yahya Jammeh, who called it a, quote, neo-colonial institution. However, Barrow says he wants to rekindle ties with the global body. Super Eagles coach General Ross says he is focusing on the African Cup of Nations qualifier in June this year, rather than the World Cup qualifier in August. Super Eagles were placed in a potentially tough group alongside South Africa, Libya and Seychelles for the qualification of the 2019 African Cup of Nations. The qualifiers for the 2019 tournament will begin in June this year. Nigerians are hoping for a better qualifying round after the team missed out on the previous two editions of the AFCON, which is the 2015 and 2017 edition. Usain Bolt has claimed a top accolade at the Laureus World Sports Awards in Monaco. The 8-time Olympic sprint champion was named Sportsman of the Year for his 2016 achievements at the Olympic Games. Bowles, who claimed 4 gold medals and a bronze in Rio, is the first gymnast to be honored by Laureus in the men's or women category. Nico Rosberg, who quit Formula One in December last year, 5 days after being crowned world champion, received the Breakthrough of the Year prize, while Premier League champions Leicester City claimed the Spirit of Sports award. Other top winners of the award are Chicago Cubs, as well as American swimmer Michael Phelps and the refugee team at the Rio Olympic Games and Barcelona's under-20 team. Paris Saint-Germain coach Unai Emery says he remains cautious despite his team's resounding 4-0 Champions League win over the Spaniards. The French champions hammered Barca in the last 16 first leg on Tuesday with goals from Di Maria, Julian Draxler and Edison Cavani. No side in Champions League history has ever overcome such a deficit in a knockout tie, but despite his side's huge advantage heading to Barcelona, Emery says he's still wary of the La Liga giants. That's all we have on News Now. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Thelma Okoro.